Welcome back, everyone. So that was probably an incident you've heard about. This was pretty big news, right? When a plug door, suddenly popped out of an aeroplane taking off. They weren't that far off the ground. They were still in the climb on the way up. And I'm sure that incident must have been absolutely terrifying. I think that's why it was all over the news. It's everybody's worst nightmare come true. You're sitting on the plane, everything's fine, and then suddenly this huge hole opens up and everything that isn't tied down probably shoots straight out the door. It's freezing. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if the whole plane is going to fall apart. And it's terrifying, but nobody died.
Yeah.
There was lots of contributing factors as to why this actually wasn't that serious.
Oh, okay.
Firstly, it was in the climb phase, so everybody's definitely strapped in, even the flight attendants. There's no meal service going on, so that was great.
Like loose objects, nothing really.
Well, there probably are quite a few loose objects under the seats and stuff, but the people are all fully strapped in. Nobody's going to accidentally fall out. Weirdly enough, the two seats that were right next to this plug door that popped out were unoccupied.
Oh, gosh.
Every other seat on that plane was occupied, except the two seats right next to the plug door.
Here's a coincidence for you.
But even if they had been occupied, they seem to think that the people in those seats would not have been sucked out. The straps and everything is enough to keep you in place, although that would have been even more terrifying, looking down into the abyss. Also, they were not too high, so they were in the takeoff climb, but they hadn't made it to anything like their cruising altitude, so there was still a little bit of oxygen. Well, there's always a little bit of oxygen within the Earth's atmosphere. There was enough oxygen to be breathable, and they came down, not even fast descent. They came down at a very reasonable pace, and everyone was breathing normally. There was no need or worry about people either freezing to death or losing oxygen. And yeah, they just came back into land. They were still right near the airport, so they just came easily back into the airport, landed. Everybody's safe. But still, the reason people, I think, were so super worried in the airline industry was because this happened to a Boeing 737 MAX. And that particular model of plane has been grounded recently over the last couple of years for a number of pretty serious failures within its mechanics. So the airlines that purchased those airplanes are, really tired of not being able to use the planes that they bought. They're very upset with Boeing. This is ruining Boeing's reputation. And so, again, another reason why this was big news, even though it wasn't super serious. They did check all the Boeings and they grounded all the Maxes again, checked every single one, made sure that this was not an ongoing feature or issue with the model itself. No, it was fine. New
feature.
And they're all back flying again now.
Well, maybe good. I don't know.
Hopefully. I think this is the third time now that there's been a total grounding of that particular model.
If I'm ever on a Boeing, I'm keeping my seatbelt on.
Yep. Just in case. Although, no, I shouldn't be saying that. It's all the previous issues have been fixed. Recalls have been done where necessary. That isn't a problem. So you don't need to worry about it. Also, I want to remind you, because I always remember this fact, even though lots of people are terrified of flying, flying is still statistically the most safe or the safest way to travel by far.
Correct.
So don't fear the flying.
Don't fear the flying.
Why do you think people fear flying, John?
Why do people fear flying? I think it's the death aspect.
People die in cars. People have train crashes.
Humans aren't evolutionarily adapted to being high in the air. It's just not part of our DNA. It never has been. If you trace through scientists, if you trace us back, we're actually sea creatures at best, even closer to the core of the earth rather than higher from it. So I think a lot of people do have a primal fear like they do of snakes or spiders when it comes to this type of travel. Other people feel exhilarated, which is also another interesting part of human nature. But in any case, I do think that's why people are scared of flying, is because something inside of them says, this shouldn't happen. And because of their imagination from that little tiny feeling, they're thinking of like, I'm going to get sucked out. The plane's going to break up. We're going to fall down to the earth and die. And the imagination of plummeting 3, 4, sometimes up to 20 minutes, knowing you're going to die.
I mean, what a way to go. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Right?
Yeah. Sometimes when you die, it's just like you get hit and you're dead, or it's just a few seconds of terror. This is minutes.
Okay, so...
But it's okay, very safe.
Yeah, let's step away from the fear.
All right.
Has something unexpected ever happened to you while on a plane? I mean, we're obviously not talking about the door falling out, but can you think of anything a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Something extremely unexpected happened. It was my first flight from Korea to America. Actually, first and only so far. It was my first flight on Korea Air. Or is it Korean Air or Korea Air? I think it's Korean Air. Okay, Korean Air. And I was sitting down and they served me wine. And I was like, okay, this is pretty good. You know, have a little cup of wine. And then the gentleman came around again and asked if I wanted a refill. And in my flight to Europe, they did give a free refill. So I was like, okay, I'll take the refill. Then he came around again and said, would you like more? And I was like,
yes, sir.
Yep. Then he came around again. He's like, oh, would you like more? I'm like, why don't you just keep me filled up, buddy?
Was it just you or was it everybody?
I don't know, because I wasn't paying attention to anyone else. I'm a highly selfish being. But the woman next to me didn't drink, so I'm not sure. But I did take those refills. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that's lovely. Great service. I need to fly Korean Air more often. I like a free refill.
If it were just me, then thank you. But if it wasn't, then good service.
Good stuff. Well done. We salute you, Korean Air. With that positive note, I want you to fly down or around, or to the left or to the right, to the vocabulary section. Hop off, check your list, pick up your bags, and then make your way out through the exit. And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Lobby.
Lobby.
Visceral.
Visceral.
Setback.
Setback.
Casualty.
Casualty.
Ground.
Ground.